Okay. What's your name?
Greg Russell.
When and where you were you born?
I was born August 1961 in Dallas, Texas.
Where were your parents from?
My parents were born in Oxford, England.
How did they get here?
They came to America by boat in 1952 and rode a bicycle from New York to Texas.
What were some of the rules of your house?
Rules in our household, they were pretty strict. I mean, Mom was raised in a military family, so she was pretty strict. But, I mean, it wasn't anything extremely rigid. I mean, as long as we didn't get in trouble, we were given pretty much free rein.
The rules that were enforced, did you rebel anyway, or did you try to stay out of trouble as much as you could?
I don't know. Kind of a mix of the two. I got in my fair share of trouble.
So describe your neighborhood during high school.
Our neighborhood in high school was pretty much like it is now, as far as the neighborhoods remain pretty much the same. The property values are probably improved since I was in high school. As far as the high school makeup, it was even mix of whites, blacks, and Hispanics. It was kind of a melting pot, if you will, of different cultures, and it was 1979, so.
So, as you progressed through your life, what kind of jobs did you have?
Well, let's see. My first real job, I was still in high school working in a work program. I was working for Sears and Roebuck at their warehouse downtown, which is now some condominiums or something. And after that, I worked for a small office products wholesaler. I worked for them for about 18 years. It was a small family-run company, and stayed with them for quite a while. And then I was in retail pharmacy for quite a while, and now I'm in the tool business.
And I guess through those years, which presidents do you consider were most effective?
Most effective, probably starting with, and I really never thought I would have said this, but Ronald Reagan was actually quite effective by today's standards of presidents getting stuff done. I thought Bill Clinton was a really good president. He did a good job. The economy was good during his presidency. And Obama, you know, I guess the jury's still out on that, but I think he's doing a good job. I'm not too impressed with the Bushes. I think the elder Bush was quite a good military man. I think he ran the CIA for a little while, but his presidential history is probably nothing to write home about.
And I mean, I guess the Vietnam conflict you probably
Well, that's
encountered it.
probably why Johnson wasn't an effective president, and Nixon, for various reasons, wasn't. But the Vietnam conflict was essentially winding down, and when I kind of realized what was going on. I mean, I knew, like, the Kent State, the kids getting killed at Kent State by the National Guard, but only because we had a paper out, and you're folding the paper, and every day it's the headline, and you see what it is. So I knew something was going on, but I didn't really understand it till I was 12 or so, and that's when the war was kind of winding down.
Because you were pretty young when most of the conflict was, or
right.
when it was at its height.
Yeah.
So you didn't have a whole lot of experience with, like, the war at home or anything.
You know, I remember seeing it on the news, but I didn't process it, I guess. I see stuff now and say, you know, I remember seeing that then, but it just didn't, you know, when you're a kid, you're not affected by stuff like that.
Which social and or political event during your life would you consider the most significant to you still today?
Still today, one of the things I think was most amazing was the space race to get man on the moon. The race against the terrible Reds, the Ruskies, the communists. Just, you know, the President Kennedy, I believe it was, that said we're going to put a man on the moon, and the fact that they pulled it off. I mean, it's nowadays you probably think, well, you know, we've got rovers on Mars and stuff, but this was in the late '60s, and computers were still in their infancy, and just to think that they pulled it off with the technology they had was pretty amazing. I remember I was probably almost 8 years old on the first landing, and just watching it on obviously a black and white TV, but the image was obviously grainy and all, but still the fact that they were getting pictures from the moon, you know, and I could see it on TV, and here I am at my house, we couldn't even get a decent TV channel. So that in itself was pretty amazing. I think it was good for the economy as far as the whole program and that national pride. I think everybody was happy that we got to the moon first. And I think probably that would be one of the more amazing things I've seen in my life.
How did you watch it? Were you at home or?
Yeah, it was summertime, as I recall, so I wasn't in school. I remember one of them, might have been the second one, that we actually watched it in school. They brought in the big TVs on the carts and all, but the first one, I want to say I was at the next door neighbor's house when we watched it. And they had a color TV, but of course the images were in black and white, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, it was an amazing accomplishment, because you know don't know what was going to happen when they got there. I mean, suppose the surface wouldn't hold the lander and it just sunk into it, or plus to get there. I mean, quite a few guys lost their lives trying. You know, there was 3 guys died actually on the what is it, where they take off from?
Oh, the launch pad.
The launch pad.
Yeah.
In a flash fire, and several others that in the endeavor to get to put a man on the moon, but we did pull it off. We went back a couple other times, but it's kind of odd that we haven't been back since.
Well, when you were watching it at school, do you remember any of the kinds of things that you and your friends were thinking about or talking about while you were watching it?
I really can't remember anything vivid. I just remember that it was cool. We got to watch TV at school, but plus it was a huge accomplishment. So.
Would you say it was something that the older you got, the more you realized how amazing of a feat it was?
Yeah. I mean, when you're 8, you really don't comprehend it. I mean, you knew it was something. But as you get older and you realize what they pulled off, and then of course now they've made movies about it like Apollo 13, and
right.
That in itself, just that mission getting back was amazing in itself. So yeah, as I got older, I definitely appreciated it more. And of course now, as I say, we got vehicles on Mars cruising around, so
yeah,
it's just amazing, the technology and how far it's come, because back then computers were so huge, and now a computer chip in your toaster will do just as much as some of the things that were on that lunar module, But anything else, sir?
No, I think that's about it. That's 9 minutes of some good footage.